Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slapendipity Hobos of Happy Slappy Town, Episode 7. My name is Devin, but you can call me Gibby, and I am here with Eric, who you can call Eric.
I'm sorry, Devin, but it's wrong. You
What's
can
wrong?
call me a liar.
Why are you a liar?
We've gone 2 episodes without me telling the prostitute story, and
We
one
promised.
episode from the Emo Night.
We promised we were gonna tell them. You blamed me for it not happening.
I did, yeah, like a little scapegoat.
Oh my god. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to rectify that mistake.
And just start here, yeah. Just hard to get into it that way. No one can call me a liar
We're gonna
anymore.
we're gonna we're gonna hard get into the prostitute. Okay, let's go.
Oh no. Okay, this was a few years ago,
This was
and
probably 2016.
maybe
We were in college,
roughly
so let's estimate 2016.
roughly 2016. And I remember we were at our friend's house and we were celebrating New Year's. And there was a bunch of us. Gosh, I don't, like 7 at least, around there. And I believe it was me and 2 other people. Um,
You were there with our friend George,
George, who
our
we
friend
brought up
Drew,
before. I
my
Drew didn't go
brother,
with us
but he was present, and my brother was also there.
at the party. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Um, so George, your brother, and I decided, hey, there is a 24-hour convenient place to get food. Let's go get some food.
And it has a pretty dank parking lot that all the teens hang out in.
It's like a third place.
It's like a third place. It is in fact the same third place that we were talking about in that episode. Watch it if you don't know the context.
Yes. So and it's like a short drive, right? We were like, we're a little bit hungry. I think we had run out of food and we just kind of had munchies. And we were like, no,
What?
no.
No, you got to specify. There was in
I
fact no
there was
marijuana
there
consumed at
was
this
no
event.
marijuana or anything. Everyone was perfectly sober who would be driving. We just had we were peckish, if that's a better word.
Yeah, if you guys came back, but like you were also stoned, I don't think I would have believed the story you're about to tell.
Yeah. So I, the responsible person that I am, decide to drive because I also like driving. Our friend George and your brother get in my car, and I believe it was just the 3 of us that went. Everyone else stayed at Drew's, and it was literally the plan was you're gonna be back, get some like I don't know yoo-hoos and like whatever sandwiches or chips or whatever, and come right back, and it'll be cool, and we'll pick up the party. So we get in the car, everyone's buckled in, car works perfectly fine, start driving. I get out of the driveway, get out of the little area development, make my first right onto like the first real road. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Drive for like a couple thousand feet, if that, and a dog bolts into the middle of this road, and I slam on the brakes and I just throw my car. I'm holding the brakes, and the dog is just like, who? And just kind of looked at us, and then just started walking around the road. And I was like, uh.
Now, keep in mind, fellas, this is not a residential neighborhood. This is like a
This is like,
business district. This is a
yeah,
pretty busy road.
this is a busy road. Cars are still like, thankfully, we were the only car at that time, but I could see other cars from behind me in my rearview mirror and cars coming towards us. So I threw my emergency lights on, parked the car in the middle of the road, and we got out to like wave down traffic and get the dog. We some with George or your brother, I forget who, I think like got the dog was friendly. It was not, it was very clear by its demeanor, not aggressive per se. It was just got out and was curious what the world was. So they had grabbed it by like the collar. I pulled my car off to the shoulder of the road. We then looked around and were like, well, it like behind us more or less is like this residential-ish area that is off of this business district. So it could be from there, but then there's also like houses over on the other side of the street. Who does this dog belong to? And with my powers of deduction, I was like, okay, we're far enough away from the houses behind us that it wouldn't make sense for the dog to be from there because we were on the right side of the road. It bolted from the left side of the road into the right lane. So presumably, if it got out and was just started sprinting, it came from the left side of the road. On the left side of the road, there was like, just like a few houses scattered around. And I looked over to the left side, and there was this house with a big fence, possibly a farm-esque thing, and I was like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, folks, you
So
gotta understand. This is a heavily developed residential area. This is the business district, and there's also a farm right there because that's just how Happy Slappy Town is.
it's so quirky.
It's not a contradiction at all. I promise. That's literally just how it
Well,
is.
it's a business district with farms. And it may not have been a farm per se. It may have just been someone with like a big yard.
I'm
Like
fairly certain that that is a farm.
um, I just saw a big giant fence, and I was like, fence. Zoom in, enhance, fence's door is ajar. Um, we escort the dog to that house, and we're like, and in my head, I'm like, I can't believe like I almost killed this dog. Not all, but like if I wasn't faster, like if I was just a little bit slower, like there's a very real chance I would have hit the dog. And I was like, I can't believe I almost did that. I can't believe someone got their dog loose and wasn't looking for it. Like I didn't see anyone else on the road being like, "Oh, come here, Biscuit. Come here, Biscuit. Where are you?" Um, and so we went up to the front door of this house, and in my head I was like, "I'm so gonna tell this guy off. They're scummy. They weren't looking for their dog, and like blah 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 blah." Knock on the door, and we're like, "Is this your dog?" And a man opens up. It was dark. It was like nighttime. Again, I believe this was for like a New Year's party. Like, couldn't see great. Um, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, thanks. That's my dog." And I was like, "Ah!" And before I could really say anything, he just went, "Well, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, thank you, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, thank you, Happy New Year." And I was like, "You," and that's just all he would say. And I was like, I'm not gonna yell at this man. It's not worth my time. And he's not gonna listen. So I just kind of let the anger flow off of me. We returned to my car, crossing the street carefully, and went back into the car, drove along to our destination.
Where
Parking
was the
lots
prostitute, Eric? I don't
the
understand.
parking lot of this destination is a pretty good parking lot. It's got a lot of space. It has like you can park on all four sides of the building. It was pretty dope. It's a good parking lot. It's also busy. The normal spot I usually park in was taken up. A lot of people were there. So I parked in on the side of the building, and there was like a cop car, I think, and it was just kind of like there, like also. And I was like, that's weird. Whatever. They're getting coffee or, you know, it's New Year's, drunk drivers and all that. That's not too surprising. And I think as we like left my car and started going into the building, like, I saw another car pull up into the parking lot, and I was like, well, that's weird. Now, keep in mind, neither of the lights of these cop cars were not on. They were just, like, there. The one car was parked, the other car just came in. I was like, okay, whatever. We get our food, we get our yoo-hoo. We're like, and we're good, we're set. That dog thing was crazy. We talked about that inside, but like, that's over. The dog is safe, thank goodness, and we can go back to the party.
How innocent you were.
So a tiny detail I left out is that we parked on the side of the building, right? You can only enter the building from the front and the back. We went through the back. So there's a corner that you have to cross, right, to get like from my car where I parked it into the building and from inside the building to my car. So we leave the back of the building with our food in tow and yoo-hoo, and we turn the corner, and those two cop cars that were just there is now like their lights are on, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess this is fine. What? It doesn't involve us. It's fine. And as we're like getting into my car, this like, I don't know, man, it's hard to pin him down. He had a scraggly beard, but he was very tall and like had very long hair, like maybe mid-20s. But it was also like kind of unkempt and like a little disheveled. His clothing was like a little dirty, but in that way that like I'm gonna go to a 24-hour place and like get food really quick and go back. Like, you're not like trying to, you're just wearing clothes so that you can like, get inside the building, and you were probably just wearing your pajamas before.
Gas station dirty, not hobo dirty.
Right. And there's this woman who is also like vaguely beside him, and the cops are like talking to these two, and I'm not really paying attention to it because it doesn't involve me. That dog was crazy. Let's get out of here. We all pile into my car, and we're like, cool. The cop that was parked pulled up a little and was now to like my right side of the car, and I was in the parking spot, right? So to the right of me was another parked car. Behind that parked car that I did not know was a cop car. The cop car that had pulled in from earlier was then on the left side of me, I believe. And so I was a little sandwich of cop cars. And I was like, this is fine. We're just gonna leave. As I am like turning on the car, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the cops, like, whoa, take your time getting out. A third cop car comes in and just pulls in directly behind me. So, and this was like, I didn't have the car wasn't in reverse yet, because we were like kind of, being terrible citizens and being like, oh, what's going on with you? So this third cop car just pulls in directly behind me, and I am now boxed in, because if I go straight, I'm just going to hit the building. And it also had like propane tanks and stuff, and just not good. So I was fully trapped, and all three cop cars had their lights on, and we were just like, what? And naturally, when you're trapped somewhere, you pay attention to your environment. So there was like 3 cops talking to this disheveled man, and there was a woman as well. I don't know if I already said that.
You did not.
There was a woman as well.
How dare
she?
She
was vaguely close to the man as well. in her own car. I think the car parked to the right of me might have been like his or hers. And this woman was like middle aged, maybe. Blonde hair, wrinkle, the startings of the wrinkles and stuff, and like wearing an outfit that was somewhere along the lines of a dress and lingerie had a baby. Like it was it was enough clothing to not reveal anything just by wearing it, but it was also, if you just moved it around with your body parts a little, accessible, let's
Hmm.
say. And so we are now just watching this development as the two or three cops are talking to the man, and the rest of the cops are basically talking to this woman, and talking is a generous term. So the woman is shouting and screaming. She is kicking up a fuss. She's got, I didn't do nothing. And that's a little, that's roughly what she sounds like in my head.
Hmm.
And the guy is being like, I swear I didn't know. I didn't, well, you gotta believe I didn't. And we're like, okay, let's put on our deduction hats. We've now been here for a few minutes. Our friend George is like, screw this, unwraps his sandwich and is having dinner in a show. I think your brother eats mac and cheese.
Hmm.
I was like, no, I am saving this for the party when it is pure and good. I don't want it tainted by this crazy night. So as we're stuck there, uh, I could see like wads of cash from like the guy. He had like just crumpled up and stuck together bills, and he was just talking to the cops on basically what I said of like, I swear I didn't know, like, as I listened more, as like, I didn't know she did that type of thing. Like I was really hoping for like a honest thing, and then she like said all these things, and as I'm trying to listen to the guy, I have to listen to the woman because she's screaming, going, you filthy liar, you set me up, I swear, you son of a bitch, you how dare you. And it goes on like that. I'm not going to reenact the whole scene. Basically, they had this man and woman have met up. They met up at this destination. It looked like there was potentially going to be an exchange of goods or services. And I guess maybe by sheer bad luck, maybe a cop was already there. I don't know how that part got involved. And assuming that the cop then saw these two, at their cars, like, maybe about to exchange money or whatever, and thought it looked a little shady because they're both kind of disheveled looking, and it's New Year's Eve, and maybe they're drunk, and maybe something else is happening, and yeah, whatever. The man claims to have known nothing, didn't know what was going on. The woman seemed to be, from the thing she was yelling and the wads of cash from the man, like she was an escort. And from her perspective, at least, that she was an escort trying to escort the client to a good night, and that he had called the cops or something. And from his perspective, he was like, no, I just brought money for, like, you know, supplies for if I was like had a good night with any person, protection and all that. And then she like started talking about money. That seemed to be the thing. Well, at this point, we had.
I
Mhm.
I recall in previous tellings of this story that
Yes.
the prostitute had claimed that she was only getting a car ride, like an Uber type service from the gentleman,
Ye pos
and
yeah.
the police response to that was, "Oh, it seems like you're always getting rides from people all over town."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know. Well, you know.
Well, you know.
That's how it goes. I believe that was this again was almost 10 years ago. I only remember so much, but I that does sound familiar. Um by this point we had been there for at least 10-15 minutes and I was like this is kind of baloney. So I got out of my car, made eye contact with one of the cops. He returned that eye contact and went into the cop car that was blocking me from backing out. I went to my car and George was like, "What did you do? You didn't even say anything." And I was like, "I didn't have to." I backed out. I left that parking lot and I returned to the party. You guys then went, "It's been like half an hour, an hour. Where have you been?" And I was like,
Between the
"What?"
dog and the and you guys going in to get your food
Yes,
and then the prostitute, it was over an hour. You guys were gone.
because the dog probably took about 10 minutes. There was a lot of people in the building also getting food. I think that took like at least 15 minutes. And then yeah, it just piled up. And this is how I remember it now. Like obviously it's like my sense of time for an event from 10 years ago is not amazing. But no, it was a long car. What should have been 5 minutes was, yeah, like an hour. And it was
5 minutes in and
absurd.
out, quick sandwich.
Quick sandwich, and it was not a quick sandwich. It was one of the longest sandwiches I ever had.
Her too, possibly.
Well, no, no, not anymore.
Oh no.
Um, so yeah, that is my story of a possible prostitute in Happy Slappy Town.
I just like the point of the reason we brought up that story multiple episodes ago was to talk about how all the local like teenagers need to hang out at this gas station because all the parks close at sundown. And
Hmm.
I said, "Oh, you mean the nice gas station where you saw the prostitute getting arrested?"
Yes,
And
and
so like I just can't emphasize enough, people are put in the situation you were put in because they can't walk around a nice park because it happens to be dark out. So
yeah,
now they got to be put in situations where there's actual criminal activity happening in a shady back parking lot of a gas station.
lols. I would like to say by the time I left the parking lot, I'm pretty sure I like saw her like getting, like they were very clearly separated. She might have been getting handcuffed,
They were booking
etc.
her.
Um, and it's one of those like, I mean, this is where I think you and I differ a little bit of like, I, you know, I remember one of my college English professors was like, imagine if prostitution was a legal job, because then you would have to have certain things provided as a default, like pimps would not be this like weird abusive thing. You would maybe then have like a job that is a bodyguard but with like a clear boss above that and like clear rules and structures of so people aren't taken advantage of, etc. And then also you'll have like testings, before you see this person because it's a legal job and there's nothing to be shamed about, but like you do have to be responsible and like take tests before and after and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um
So
and then you wouldn't
not to
have
get into
and
it.
then you wouldn't have to meet up in parking lots.
not to get into like the super like philosophical or ethical debate or anything, but my issue with people who just have that like, oh, it would be safer and everything would be better if it was legal, is that those same people, and they have a very good point, will, if you're just talking about normal jobs, if you're talking about like being a fast food worker, they talk about how these big businesses, whether it's like a giant chain like McDonald's or it's just the local, fine eatery, that the managers and the corporation and all those steps along the business ladder, as you move down the ladder, people are getting more and more taken advantage of until you
Yeah.
get to like the janitor who cleans the bathroom. And I
Hmm.
just don't understand how those same people can hold the opinion that like, oh, if prostitution was legal, then the prostitute would be in control of like her own decisions and her own body, and like there wouldn't no one would be taking advantage of everyone. And I'm like, no, buddy, if it was legal, then you would have this exact same horrible situations where people are making basically no money doing horrible degrading things, but instead of those horrible degrading things being cleaning a toilet, it would be sex work. And I hate that these people, because they have such strong opinions about sex positivity and et cetera, and the evil cops are coming in to take these people, the system created them and yet they're getting in trouble for it, just don't see how bad it would be if we put corporations in charge. So I
Yeah.
guess I don't want to talk about like the ethics of prostitution or anything, but just the very principle of putting corporate involved of something that's already problematic would just make it more problematic. And so it's not necessarily a definitively better avenue for what those people who want it to be legal are going for. I think there would just be different issues that are probably equally as bad as the issues we have now.
Yeah, it would still definitely be tricky, and like I have worked for massive corporations, as I think most people have, and I don't think anyone's not aware of the like amount of BS. I mean, maybe some are, right? But like maybe you could make it a federal job. Like I don't know, but yeah, but there also has to
But
be some compromise. But you know what's better than trying to pay for stuff like that is trying to find it yourself for free, consensually, and responsibly, which is my poor segue into Emo Night.
oh lordy.
Again, I got to get my name clear, record clear. I can't be a liar. Um, much more boring. Um, Basically, around the same time frame, college, like maybe it was 2018 or something. I don't know. I was told by various people, like, "Hey, you need to get yourself out of your comfort zone and really push yourself, and also you keep saying how you want to go do things, so like go out and do things." And I was like, okay. And I told my friend this, and she was like, bet we're gonna go get you to do things. And I was like, oh, okay, what does this
Meet me at the
mean?
back parking lot at the gas station.
No. She was like, okay, I live near New York City. We are going to take you into New York City, and we are going to have you get a good time. We're going to go dancing. We're going to go like try and find you a girl that you can who would also be down to dance with you and to see what happens from there. And I went, okay, that sounds like a lot, but okay. This is what I have like okay. So I don't even have a sense of time for when it happened exactly, but I went to her place. I got as dressed up for the event that made sense as much as I could. Um, I had some like good pants on, but like we're still kind of not fancy pants, not like I wore a good
Mr. Fancy
first
Pants?
date outfit essentially.
Okay. But to
Um,
walk around New York City.
to walk and dance around New York City. So I go, okay. I drive over to my friend in her apartment, and the plan is simple, right? The plan is meet up. It's, on like a Friday or Saturday, whatever it was. Meet up, take the train into the city, do whatever for however long, take the train, go back into to my friends. Um, Easy plan, easy plan. She is dressed up for the night that we are gonna have. Actually, not quite. Um, she's in her like walking around New York clothes. And this was a key distinction that I had not known, right? So my outfit was like to walk around New York City and to dance in. So it was like comfortable but stylish-ish, because I'm not super stylish. But I talked to people. I got ready.
And that's why we call ourselves hobos.
Yeah, yeah. So and this was not a secret. My friend was like, "Hey, we're gonna go to like this bar, and this is gonna be a meeting spot for like all my other friends that are gonna join us, and like, you know, we're gonna have a group when we go have our night out, so it's a little bit safer for everyone." She's like, this bar is gonna be a meeting spot for my friends to join us. We'll be safer in a group. Blah blah blah. Like, cool. So it's me, my friend, who is a girl, woman, her friend, who is another woman, and my friends, two other friends who are all dudes. And we are at this bar. We're waiting for everyone to meet up. Everyone meets up. The women go, cool. Now that we're all here, I brought some outfits for us to change into. We're gonna go into the bathroom and change. And us dudes were like, okay. And then, like I had been introduced, like, hi, I'm Erica, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. The women come out. They were in their, like, we're walking around New York City clothes. And now they were in, like, we are here to dance, you punks. And they dance, we did. And that was my mistake, is I could have brought a separate change of clothes that were dance clothes instead of trying to be comfortable and fashionable. I could have just brought separate clothes and looked even better. Alas, live and learn. So we also are like, we didn't super have a plan on like what exactly we were doing. We were like, well, we're gonna go dance. We don't know where. So my friend, from just some quick Googling and some quick Facebooks, is like, there is going to be a venue playing a bunch of like My Chemical Romance, Evanescence, All American Rejects, Blink 182, Sum 41, stuff like that. At this venue. So, like, do you vibe with that? And I was like, hell yeah, I vibe with that. And everyone agreed that, like, hell yeah, we vibe with that. I believe the name of it was something like it was a bunch of various bands playing, and it was like, the emo like band night at whatever was like the Facebook events name of this thing. And we were like, cool, this is Emo Night. Eric, you are going to remember Emo Night. And I was like, okay. We leave the bar, and we take an Uber over to this venue. It is like probably 8, 9. No, probably like 9. And we get into
Like
this
9 p.m.?
9 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
We started late because that's when things happen. And
I like how 9 p.m. is late.
well, I mean, that's the beginning, right? Like the Uber is like 9 p.m.
Okay.
And we still have to get there. And again, this is a rough sense of time. It's also been like roughly 10 years, assuming. And so we get to the venue. We pay admissions. I think the like women, girls, ladies get in for like free or discounted because ofs. And
Can I interject and just
yeah,
point out how funny it is that like you call them girls and then corrected yourself to women. You called them women, corrected yourself to ladies. but every time you refer to the males, you call them dudes.
Yeah, dudes and
You're like, there's
peeps.
girls. Wait, no, women. And then the dudes.
Yeah, that's how, you know, that's how it goes. Anyway, way to point out my half-baked correct gender theory. I never took a gender theory class. So we get into the venue, and there's already music playing. People are already there, but it's, people are kind of doing their own thing. And I had never been into like one of these types of things. It is so friggin' loud. It took so much effort to hear people. I don't understand how people like clubbing and things like that. Um, we all managed to hear each other and go, we're gonna take a like inaugural shot of whatever. I don't know what they gave me. I trusted them. That's fine. And we did our shots and like, like just started to vibe and like, like everyone kind of like spread out into their whatever areas they wanted to make. There was there were two dudes. One dude like went into the crowd. The other dude stayed in the back of the venue, like somewhat near the door, like like halfway between everything, and was just watching where everyone else was. And I was like, "That's smart. I'm gonna do that." And I like eventually like danced, right, and like got into it and whatever. And to use my friend's words, uh, from like the end of the night. Part of the point of this event, if it wasn't clear enough, was to like go dancing and for me to like find a girl to vibe with and like maybe we would do some kissing or whatever. I didn't do that. I didn't know how to approach people. It turns out when you just go, all right, we're going into the city and we're going to throw you into a dance club. If you don't know how to approach people or are confident, you just watch where the rest of your friend group is. Um, my one friend started trying to get like a mosh pit going. That was cool. They didn't know how to mosh, according to her. I'd take her word on it. It didn't look great. Uh, we go dancing and with like one or two more shots throughout the night. And it's probably like 1 a.m. when we leave. Also, for as much as I like low key kind of pooped on the night, it was cool to like sing along with people and jump with them on the same emo songs that we all knew and like when I was a young boy, etc.
What's the next line, Eric? What's the next
I
line?
can't say it; they'll strike us.
Yes, you can. You don't understand, Eric. It will be thematically appropriate.
He took me into the city to see a
To
marching
see
band.
the emo band.
So that happened. So yeah. So overall a fun night, but I was still just too much in my own shell. Like especially with the like where we were and are now is like the idea of just like approaching someone and like without really being able to hear, figuring out if you can dance together. Like even just that is like wild. I think if my friends listened to this, she would be disappointed by me now.
Oh.
Um, just in like it didn't work that well. Which live and learn. It was still fun though. But you definitely need the right crowd for it and the right friends. 1 a.m. Uh, I believe how does it? Something along the lines of like we all regroup somehow. The ladies had so many numbers given to them. And I was
Oh,
like,
lordy.
damn. And like even when we were leaving the venue, one of the bouncers was like, hey girl. And they had like a 5-minute chat and we had to wait for a second. She was like, oh, that's what happens when you push the
Or
girls out.
female.
Something like that.
Oh,
Oh
oh
no.
lordy.
When I tell you they were like wearing outfits for dancing. Um, Still tasteful. Still tasteful. They have class, they had taste. Still do. Um, so I don't remember how we got the two guys home. I'm assuming we just like all split an Uber to like a halfway point. So then it was me and the two girls, and we like my friend lived outside of the city. Her friend lived in the city. So we walked her to her apartment, and she went, okay, cool, that was fun and all. I'm gonna like go to bed. Are you guys good? Do you want to spend the night here? And I was just like, um, and I didn't take that long to say all that because my friend very quickly chimed in with like, "No, we'll be fine. We'll be good. We're just gonna go back to my place." And I was like, "Okay." She's the boss. And so her friend was like, "Okay, cool. Well, cool hanging out, good vibes, good dance. See you later." We're like, "Cool, see you later." By this point, it was probably like 2 a.m. from like the guys getting home, walking this other girl to her place. Ubers and Lyft and things were still new at this time, and people were not running them anymore. In addition to like, well, we just have to make it to the train station and take in the train and get into the thing. So it'll be good. So we walk. Turns out we were in a location not close to any train stations somehow, because it's littered with them. And then we get to an awkward point in the walk of like, my friend turns to me and is like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, well, there's still some late night shops opened. I'm sure it'll be fine. We find one store we both approach, and she's like, hey, I just need to go to the bathroom. They're like, no. And we're like, okay, we keep walking. And as we're on this walk, she's like, hey, no offense. Next time when you find a store, you gotta stay back. I will have much better luck getting into a store to use the bathroom if it's just me asking. And I was like, checks out, makes sense. So after who knows how long of walking, we find like a CVS that is open. It's like roughly 3 a.m., 4 a.m. at this point. We've been walking a long time, and she asks whoever's in there, like, hey, I just need to go to the bathroom. I am lingering, like, half a block back. She gets in. Great, mission success. As she's in the bathroom, this man comes up to me, his own hobo maybe in his own town, and is like, hey man, do you have any change or anything? And I was like, no, sorry, I don't. I have nothing for you. I'm sorry though. And he was like, sorry's not gonna get me much now, is it? And I was like, well, but I don't have anything on me, so I can't give you anything. I don't know what to say besides sorry. And he's like, well, like I said, sorry isn't gonna. And I just hear, hey, Eric. And my friend had come out from the bathroom and like was just on the sidewalk and was walking like, ahead of me. And it was my friend, and I was like, sorry, I have nothing. And I ran to her. And she looked at me. These are words I still try to live by. I hope she's okay that I'm saying this. I'm sure it's fine. But like truly, like I imagine this is like stuff the older sister I never had told me. She was like something to the I remember, I forget how she started it with, like, hey, you gotta like, have your shit together. Like you can't like you have to like take care of that. And I was like, yeah, I know. So this is what happened. I retold that little story, and she was like, yeah, no, I get it, but you have to be able to get yourself out of any scenario you put yourself in. And those are the words I try to live by. Of like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, um, a little bit of that like bootstrap mentality, but also just like a reasonable, like, you just got to be like smart. Don't put yourself into anything stupid if you can't get yourself out of it. So props to that. And that was also why, and she was like, when my friend was like, hey, do you want to spend the night at my place? I thought of saying yes, like that would have been nice, but we have to get ourselves out of any situation we put ourselves in. And I was like, okay, yes, checks out. And then she was also like, and I didn't know if you would be comfortable with that, and blah blah blah. And I was like, also fair. So now with this renewed mindset from this motto living rent free in my head for the rest of the night, we kept walking. There was a McDonald's that was open because now it was like 5 a.m. We got, I don't know. I don't know if I even got anything. I think she got a coffee. I used the bathroom in the McDonald's. And we kept walking. Finally found the light rail, I believe is the name, that takes you from New York to Jersey. And it was like new. It was so piercingly bright. It was so sterile. It was so clean, white, bright, and just awful. Like, I can't, like, we had been up for like almost a day and a half at this point, right? Or like whenever we woke up respectively. It was like 5, 6 a.m. and we were like, this is like, obviously that sucked. I can't imagine anyone being like, yes, I would love to take the train and be in a piercingly bright hallway as I wait for my train. Like first thing in the morning so I can commute to and from work. Like, no, that's stupid. They're stupid. We wait for our train. We get on their train. And we get back to her place. We're so exhausted. I have to leave at like 7 a.m. We both collapse onto bed. We sleep for like an hour. She goes, cool. I'm glad. I hope you had fun. I'm sorry about the morning part, but like, I hope you had a good time at least. And I was like, I did. It was a lot of fun, except for the morning part. Thank you for doing this with me. Goodbye. And I think I drove home. I might have taken a train. Um, and that was Emo Night.
It's so wild that I have never heard a single part of that story before.
Well, nobody asked.
Yeah, well, that's the point of the podcast.
Well, yeah, you
It's
asked
we're
now.
Yeah, it's we're the hobos of Happy Slappy Town, telling each other stories, telling our audience stories. Sometimes it's going to be stuff that we're just recounting from our own personal lives. Sometimes it's going to be stuff that neither of us have heard before. Sometimes it's controversial opinions about, subways and trains.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I think we should segue from the emo music you were listening
Uh-huh.
to another type of music.
Oh yeah? What type of music?
The Grand Chase.
Do-do-do-do. Hello and welcome back from Le Grand Chase by Kevin MacLeod, I want to say, from Incompetech.
Eventually, we'll figure out how to say his name,
So,
or we'll just stop trying.
dang, we could, yeah, that's possible. He's in the show notes credit or something like that, whatever podcasts have. But, after talking for so long, it reminds me of being on a phone call, if you will, and I tried calling you yesterday, Devin, but I couldn't. What happened?
Well, that was a great segue, Eric. Um, yeah, of all of the weeks of all of my life, this is the one in which I felt most like an actual hobo. And I hope you guys all know that we're using the term hobo lovingly in this podcast. We're talking about a guy
Endearingly.
riding a train, endearingly stick over his shoulder, just a nice little happy fella. Um, so yesterday, I cannot believe it's been less than 24 hours. Oh my god. Yesterday, I am at work at my fine movie theater establishment, and I'm doing lots of things. I walk in and there's always a problem to solve. And then I have my regular floor activities where I got to go around, make sure everyone's okay. Oh my god, we're so busy. I got to pop some popcorn because we got all of our workers are like on break or something happened and now all of them got to like rush over to the roof to fix a leak. Like there's just always stuff happening. And as a manager, I have to deal with everything and I'm only one person.
I don't see
So
the issue.
there we fluctuate between, oh my god, Devin, there's fires happening everywhere, go put them out, and then absolutely nothing. We have 7 guests in 1 hour, and now we have like 13 employees, and so I have nothing to do. And sometimes I spend that just walking around, being like, hey, how are you doing? Yo, what's going on? And then they're like, oh my god, I just started a new Rust server, let me talk about it. Or we're walking by one of the sport bar TVs we have going on, and it's like the championship of women's basketball, college basketball, and we sit down and we watch the last 20 minutes. Or we're just going like, oh my god, what would taste so good is a Nutella milkshake. And then someone's like, oh, they changed the recipe in Nutella, and we're like, oh my god, that's so interesting, or at least it's interesting because we have nothing to do for the next 3 hours, and then we just talk about that. Eric, you made a noticeable noise when I said Nutella milkshake. Why is that?
I mean, I don't really eat Nutella because peanut butter's just the goat, but that just sounds nasty.
So obviously, I've never had one. We're going to be selling them, so that's going to be a thing,
Hate it here.
and that's why you quit.
And that's the only reason.
You're like, 3 years from now, you guys are going to bring Nutella onto the property? Sorry, I
Get
can't
out
do
of
that.
here.
So I'm just going around being me, chilling. I think we've mentioned a couple times we have a group chat with our high school friends, and so we're all in there talking. And I believe, oh my god, I can't remember the thing we were talking about at the end of my phone's life, and I can't even go back and check.
I think it was just memes.
What was the last message I sent in the group chat, Eric, before everything went wrong?
As I look for that, why don't you say more?
So I'm
You
going
said
around.
I'm so sorry. You- the last message you sent is tomorrow my project is orange. I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so here's a little insight for our audience into something that probably will not happen for a very long time. In case anybody doesn't know, on the side, I am also a YouTuber. I have my own channel. I have multiple channels. I have Gibby's Good Idea, Bad Idea, Gibby's Lore Cattle Ranch, and Gibby's Horror Homestead. And they all tackle different subjects. One of them is just like general interesting videos, things that I like want to make topics about, like a talking dog or this underwater hamster city. One of them is specifically focused on like the legitimate most horrifying topics that you could ever think of. And then the third one is Horror Homestead. So one of the videos I want to make is about the leave that in. One of the videos I want to make is about the discography. Wow. Discography.
Discography. There you go.
Discography.
No.
I want to make a video about Taylor Swift's music.
There you go.
And it's going to be basically taking all of her songs and all of her albums and creating a narrative, because most of her songs are autobiographical. And so it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to tell the story of this fictionalized version of Taylor, using the songs as the medium for telling the story, and basically go through and analyze it, like poetry, and try to come to a conclusion about, like, okay, so this is what this album says, and then this album's the sequel, so then this all happens. Using, again, real-life information from, like, okay, this song's about John Mayer, so, like, what was their relationship like? This video, I'm assuming, is probably going to be, like, 10 hours long, and I've been writing it for, like, 3 years, and I haven't gotten to the first album yet, because that's how long it's going to take.
Damn.
So, literally 10 years ago, probably more, I think it was actually 2012, so we're talking more like 12 years ago. We're in high school. Me and my buddy George, we frequent the memes on the interwebs. And this is right around the time that the Taylor Swift's 4th album, Red, came out. And it was super popular. And Taylor Swift, she's amazing, she's huge, she's like the biggest singer in the world right now, but like she was also just kind of popular back then as well. To the point where, like, doesn't matter what clique you're in or what your genre of music is, you listen to Red when it came out. If you're, 16. So, because this new album came out, there were a lot of memes that were going around. And one of them was something it was like a tweet. It was something to the effect of, like, if I ever dated Taylor Swift, I would always communicate with her using, like, notes written on orange sticky tapes for birthdays and Christmases, not sticky tapes, sticky notes. For birthdays and Christmases, I would give her orange ornaments and jewelry. Every night, our first date and then our first anniversary, we would go out and we would pick oranges at an orchard. And then, the punchline is, good luck writing a song about me now, Taylor.
Balls. I watched an interview with Eminem, who's kind of mad about orange, because it doesn't rhyme with anything, but if you allow for slant rhymes, it rhymes with a lot.
So this meme gets spread around, and me and George used to frequent a meme site called Funny Junk. This is back before the great internet apocalypse that occurred in 2014. We're not going to get into that. But the site used to be very different than it is now. I haven't been on there in many years. Probably a trash heap. It was already a trash heap by the time I left. Probably worse now. But one of the comments on Funny Junk underneath this meme, Funny Junk, it's a meme sharing website. You post a picture, you can leave comments. One of the comments was lyrics that the person had written to a hypothetical Taylor Swift song about that post. And the lyrics were something to the effect of, like, I'm not going to sing, but they were something to the effect of, never did say hello, always greeted with when red meets yellow. Then you left the scene, you left a note in shades of tangerine.
LOL.
And so it went through what a Taylor Swift love song, breakup song would be about if everything was revolving around the color orange. Okay. So me and George, and again, 12 years ago, we expanded these lyrics into a full song that we called Orange. And we could imagine, like, okay, we're going to, like, make an album cover that's, like, parodying Taylor's Red album. It's going to be called Orange, and it's going to be this. And so we wrote the songs. I had the lyrics for a long time. And my goal, when I eventually make this Taylor Swift discography video for my YouTube channel, will be to finally have somebody cover Orange and make a song and sing the lyrics. And, we'll have to get like a girl who sounds like Taylor Swift and, like, have it be a country song with an acoustic guitar. And, the video will end off with a music video for Orange. Within the last, like, month or two, this website was created, and it allows for the creation of AI music. And we can get into the ethics of that, some other day. But basically, you can type in lyrics and, like, a genre, and it will generate a song, both with music and also with vocals. And so you can be like, I want a female country singer, acoustic guitar, here's the lyrics. And it'll create, a pretty good, passable music. It sounds kind of like auto-tune, but so does real music. And so I wanted to make what I'm going to call, like, a temp track. So it's going to be this AI voice singing over this AI music to then show to like a real artist and be like, okay, this is kind of what I want it to sound like. This is like the voice I want you to do. Obviously, these are the lyrics that I wrote myself. So it's not like I'm just pumping out AI music to trash, fill up YouTube with garbage. It's like if you're using AI art as like a concept art to then hand to an artist and be like, I want it to kind of look kind of like this. So like, right, like the AI is not the end product. But it's really annoying to have to use the AI to describe to it what you actually want and to make edits, and it's just like annoying. So the last thing I sent in our group chat before my phone's untimely demise was, I'm going to make my project tomorrow orange. Meaning I was going to work on orange on this AI website.
That's beautiful.
It is.
That's incredible.
And then I dropped my phone.
I'm so sorry. The last message you actually sent was, it's my last chance to be a kid now. A squid now.
Yeah, I think they're shutting off the Wii U and 3DS online servers today. So I can never play Splatoon again. And I think I missed that because of how the story ends. So
Right.
I'm at work and I dropped my phone. Now I have a Galaxy Note 10 and it's completely waterproof. But you know what it's not proof for, Eric?
Fire.
Probably fire, but also whatever cleaning chemical we use, apparently, because I dropped it in a mop bucket.
No.
It did not survive.
What did that look like? Was it like the equivalent of waterlogged, but just with chemicals, and so it wouldn't turn on, or like...
The screen turned green, and then it turned off, and then it would not turn on again, and occasionally it would turn on, but it would be all glitchy. Right now, I can get it to look like TV static. But phone's broke, y'all. So I have to go through this whole rigmarole. I'm like, okay, at one point I could get it on, but now the touchscreen's not working. So I'm like, okay, if I plug a mouse into it, I might be able to, like, back up my phone before getting a new one. So that's great. Unfortunately, I don't have a USB-C to USB dongle to plug a mouse into, but I do have one at home. So I call my mother, and I'm like, Mother, please go to my home, go to my room, go to under my bed. There's a shoebox. There's actually 3 shoeboxes. In one of them will be a USB-C to USB-A dongle adapter. Please bring it to my place of business. So that call took 25 minutes to explain. And then she arrives. By the time she arrives, the phone will not boot on, so it doesn't matter. So I say, okay, actually, we're going to the phone store. So we go to the phone store, and we go in, and I'm talking to the manager. I'm like, this is what happened. And he's like, okay. And we get to the point where we're going to start going over phones. And he's like, hey, by the way, like, I need permission from the account holder to make any sort of changes on your line. I said, well, my account holder is my father. We have a family plan. And he says, okay, I need his permission. And I say, okay, I can't call him. Okay. And I'm like, okay, well, let's say that, like, I can get the PIN number and whatever, like, what can I do to, like, walk out of here right now with, like, whatever the latest Galaxy phone is? And he said, actually, we're out of stock of all Samsung devices.
Dang.
I'm like, what are you talking about? How can you be out of... You're a cell phone store. He's like, well, we have the Google Pixel line and we have iPhones. And I'm like, no, I need my S Pen. So I leave the store. And now I'm back at work and I call my dad. Like, all these calls, like the 25-minute call with my mother, obviously was done like the work landline. Mm-hmm. So I'm calling my father and I'm explaining the situation. I'm like, this happened, the phone broke, need a new phone. And he's like, okay, well, if we log into, like, the carrier's website, I don't know why I'm being so suspicious about it. It's Verizon. He's like, if we log into the Verizon website, then, like, I should be able to, like, get a new phone with a discount. And so he pulls it up, and on my end, I'm, like, on Best Buy's website. He's like, okay, it's going to cost this much money. I'm like, okay, well, it's the same on Best Buy. And he's like, okay, well, like, if we order it right now, it'll be there on Friday. And I say, no, absolutely not. I'm like, okay, what if I pick it up from Best Buy? He says, okay, so we do this whole plan. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. The local Best Buy is right next to the local shopping mall. And I'm talking big mall, like 1990s kids are going to the mall. Let's all go to the mall.
Mall kids.
Mall kids. Now, Eric, I don't know if you're aware of this, but me and you are going to the mall in like 3 hours. And we had planned that for like a week.
Shut your mouth. No, we didn't.
So I'm like, oh my god, tomorrow I'm going to the mall with Eric. I can go to Best Buy and get my phone while we're at the mall.
Hooray!
So that was part one of my life without a cell phone. Next week I can tell you guys how that adventure to Best Buy goes, and I really hope that there's not much of a story. I really hope we walk in and I walk out with a phone. But today that we're recording this is also the day of that solar eclipse, so who knows? Who knows if we're even going to be here next week?
So you know what's gonna happen?
What's going
You're
to
gonna
happen?
get the phone, right? And I think it lasts like 2 hours or something. So we're gonna get your phone. We're gonna walk out. The eclipse light is gonna hit your phone and just pierce through it, and you'll buy a new phone.
Something like that is, of course,
And
going to
the
happen.
and there will be a guy that like was saying bye to us after checking the receipt, and he'll have seen that happen, and he'll be like, "That's rough, buddy."
So I think with this tease for next week's episode, we can call it here.
Yeah, I enjoy a good tease about a cell phone. Um,
There's also the topic of what we're actually what we're going to the mall for, what we're going to be doing there, so we can tell that story next week as
ooh,
well.
mall food court.
That's only part of it, Eric. Only part of
Could
my
you
desire to
imagine if that was
drive.
all of it? Could you
It's like
imagine we're like, yeah, we drove like 4 hours away so we could go to this mall's food court.
I need my Cinnabon, Eric.
Oh, I've never had a Cinnabon,
Bruh.
but they look good.
Okay, I hope you know that. Like, I know that we're both on diets, but now that you said that on the podcast, we need to. You need to get a Cinnabon so you can review it for next week.
But I wanted an Auntie Anne's pretzel.
Oh yeah, well now you got to get both.
Oh no!
All
Ah,
right.
shucks!
So, fellas, tune in next week to the Hobos of Happy Slappy Town podcast. You can always leave us an email. When we start getting emails, we can start doing mailbags. They might be a little delayed because, as you can probably tell from the recording date of this episode, we recorded these a couple weeks ago. But don't worry, we're gonna catch up. We're gonna catch up to
We'll
the
get
modern day.
there.
It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be
We're gonna
fine.
we're gonna talk
It'll be
about my
fine.
cell phone. We're gonna talk about the mall. We're gonna talk about the eclipse. We're probably gonna review Dune 2. Remember how we were supposed to do that this week? Oh my god.
Hee hee, I had to make a liar. I had to not make myself a liar by saying all those stories, but then I made myself a liar by not talking about Dune 2. Oh no.
All right, so we will see y'all next time.
Goodbye. Make sure you keep your glasses for the next 40 years when another eclipse happens.